Hi everybody, this is Carl Leopson, your instructor for SERP 590 at the University of Arizona, Single Case Research Design, Spring 2021. And welcome to week 6. Yes, you have made it through a third of the entire semester. Congratulations, I've seen really good work, and I appreciate how serious you're taking the course and your responses in the discussion posts show it. In week 6, we're going to move on to talk more about some of the fine-tuning of single case research designs. And in part, this week that has to do with single case design and applied behavior analysis kind of finding its heart and dealing with that really central issue in applied behavior analysis and single case research, which is that applied behavior analysis is expected to be applied and also socially valid. And this week we're talking about ensuring that we have applied appropriately and ensuring that we're dealing with socially valid goals, procedures, and outcomes. So let's roll into this. So this is week 6, reliability and validity in single case research. There are 2 activities this week. In the first activity, I will be asking you to do 2 things. One is to read part of chapter 5 in your text. So the piece that I linked to in chapter 5 is close to the end of the chapter, and it's all about measuring your dependent variable in a reliable way. And that's going to have a lot to do with inter-observer reliability, having a second observer come in. What this means for you in terms of this week is you got to have a pretty good sense of what your dependent variable is and how you're going to measure it, exactly the methods you're going to use to measure it, because you're going to want to describe how you're going to have a second person come in and measure it, and then how you could summarize between the 2 of you to figure out whether or not you agreed on the measurement of your dependent variable. So there's more about that in the chapter, but just keep in mind, you got to have a pretty tight understanding of your own dependent variable and its measurement. So that is part of activity 1, and I'll also have a video where I talk to you and I'll walk you through some of the concepts of inter-observer agreement and give you an example. So the second activity of this week is about social validity in single case research, and for that I will have you read the section at the end of chapter 6, which is about social validity. And it's about the dimensions of social validity, different ways to assess social validity. It's done really well in this chapter, very much in depth. And I will also have you watch a video where I talk about concepts of social validity and apply them to some situations to kind of break them down and make them more complete and concrete. And if you want to do those videos first before you do the readings, if that makes you more comfortable, go for it. If you want to do the readings first and then do the videos, either way. But do both readings and both videos before you go on and try to do this week's discussion post. All right. This week's discussion post asks you to return to your research question again, and I'm going to want you to tell me, in terms of your research question, how would you determine from participants whether or not the goals of your study were socially important? How would you determine whether or not they found your procedures to be acceptable? How would you determine whether they found that the outcomes of your study were worth the difficulty of getting to it. And I also ask you to reflect on inter-observer reliability. So how would you collect data through another observer to show that the data you're collecting as a researcher is accurate in the first place? That's your introduction to week 6. Again, I've got 2 videos. We'll read the ends of 2 of our chapters in the book, chapters 5 and 6. And then there's a discussion post. As always, reach out if you need any help. I'm available by text, by email, or in the discussion posts, okay? Have a good week.